Hello, everyone. Once again, Mark Stark here, Facebook Live, as I am every Tuesday, 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. All right, there's a lot of prostication, if whatever that word is. There's a word in there. Everyone's guessing what the market in 2022 is going to be like. Well, I am going to share with you some of my thoughts. However, I'm going to take a little bit of a turn, and I just want to make sure you're using this information as effectively as possible. So let's jump right in. First, I want to share with you some graphs, and I'm going to cover each of the markets we operate in as best we can based on the information available. So I'm using areas that should give you some really good insight of what's going on in the overall marketplace. Let's start off with Arizona. Now, I'm going to hit two main graphs on each of these markets. One is going to be what's going on with the sales prices and what is projected based on the trajectory of these sales prices. And then secondly, I'm going to cover units. And based on closed sales, what's the trajectory of the closed sales? So let's get started. So as you see here in Phoenix, and as you can tell, the blue line is actual. And then the orange line basically takes that out, okay, where it's going. And if you look at the red, it takes out all seasonality, and it looks that, all right, things look like prices will certainly hold and can continue to rise. Let's move to units, still for Armless and Arizona. All right, you see all the lines go up and down. That's because there's seasonality. If you look at the red line, it takes out all the seasonality and basically takes the trajectory of where it's heading. And again, you see closed residential units, all right, up for the year and continually to project in a positive upward direction. All right, all good. Let's keep moving on. Let's move to California and start off with basically the stats show the San Bernardino area. Again, sales price. Pretty much same story. You saw that trajectory up in a positive direction. You see that projected orange line and then taking out all seasonality with the red dotted line. Again, showing it moving up in a positive direction. Let's go to closed sales for San Bernardino. All right. Same information, little bit less of it shooting upwards. But if you take out that seasonality and look at that red dotted line, you see that we're continuing to move up in a positive trajectory. Let's move to Riverside for California. Again, I hate to be a broken record here, but the stats show the same information. All right, again, blue line, actual, orange line shows us where it's projected, and the red line shows a trajectory up and positive. Let's look at our closed sales. Again, you have a positive in actual, a positive in projected, and then take out that seasonality, and you still got an upward trend on more units closed. Let's go to the third and final area for California, and that's Orange County. Look at Orange County's price. Gotta love it. You got actual there, then you got projected, and take out seasonality. Look out prices, here we come. All right, no change there. In fact, I think that's probably one of the highest trajectories for price. Next, for closed units. Again, very healthy in closed units, in actual, projected, and then taking out seasonality. Last but certainly not least, let's look at Las Vegas. All right, prices moved up throughout the year. They're projected to keep moving up, take out the seasonality. Same story as Arizona and California. And last graph on closed units for Las Vegas. Again, the same story. Actual up, projected up, and take out that seasonality with the red dotted line, and you get a now up market. All right. Now, if you were going to just say in general terms, well, it sounds like we've got a positive, certainly the market is supporting a positive, busy marketplace. And that would be a true statement. However, as always, I think if we're really going to get where we need to be, we need to ask questions. And we need to ask some very important questions like, what are these stats really supposed to tell us that will help me as an agent maneuver in my business, and also me as a buyer or seller, all right, help me make better decisions? Well, let's look at that. One, these stats may tell you some areas that you may need to shift in your business. And I'm certainly going to share something in a little bit that definitely will share a shift. All right. Two, potential opportunities, all right, in the marketplace, and potential risks in the marketplace. Specifically, when you say risks, I want you to think about the risks for your clients. Risk for buyers, risk for sellers. If it shares with you potential risk for your clients, it certainly can be a potential risk for you, but it should start with your client. And then third, important talking points that you need as a professional sales executive that you should be having with your clients. Now, in general, that's what they should be sharing with you. However, we don't want to have general conversations. In fact, if you really want to have meaningful conversations with your clients, my personal opinion, the more general the conversation, the less valuable the conversation. Guys, look, when we give general stats, they're fun to look at, just like these were, and they are actual very positive stats. But you know what? When it comes down to a specific client living in a specific neighborhood, in a specific market, things can change. Those graphs do not mean every price everywhere is moving up. It does not mean every development everywhere will have increased units. You really have to look at this in a micro aspect. So, my first bit of advice for you is, do not focus on the market. Focus on your business, all right? Focus on what's going on in the areas you work. Look, if you're going to help a client in the areas that you operate in, don't you think we need to ask them specific questions on what their plans are? Can you have two clients working in the same marketplace with different goals that have to make absolutely opposite decisions because their goals are very different? Of course we do. In fact, that's what we do every single day. Not everyone's goals are the same, or everyone's circumstances of what they're doing are the same. So my message here is that I want you to think about, wait a minute, how am I going to communicate effectively? Besides saying, well, all the stats say the market should still be hot, right? That's not going to be helpful, certainly not helpful enough to the clients that you're working with. So I want you to really dig deeper. And part of the way you do that is you ask those pertinent, important questions, those specific questions to the client that you're working with. And then you can give them real, valuable information that will affect their personal decision. See, if you come in there and you should do this, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, because let me show you generally what's happening with the market, should not be the answer. Certainly, that can come into the equation and you can show them what's going on with the overall market, but you really got to go back to talk to what they're about and what their decisions are all about. All right, last but certainly not least is when we talk about, well, really two aspects to this. When we talk about your business, you've got to be asking yourself, okay, based on these graphs, based on these situations, where do I have to tweak? And I'm going to give you something that you have to look at. And I left it out of the graphs for a reason, all of the graphs. And all of the graphs in this next stat were all pointing down. We're all pointing in a different direction. And I left them out purposely because you know what it's about? It's about how much inventory are we going to have on the market? Well, What it said, all the graphs said, we started with more inventory, and I know this is going to be an obvious statement, but we started with more inventory at the end of 20 than we're going to start with at the end of 21. So you're going to start driving your business with less inventory than you had going into last year. So guess what? What does that tell you about your business? You can't just focus on the market. I showed you stats. They were all awesome, but inventory is starting lower. Your inventory may be starting lower, or maybe it's not. And if it isn't, kudos to you. Congratulations on using the fourth quarter of the year to make sure you have the right amount of inventory to start your 22. So guess what? The overall market's not going to affect you in a negative way because you've already thought through that. So if you are now starting with less inventory, you got to get to work and you need to get more listings. Now, I know that sounds like an obvious, and I'm not here to tell you that getting listings is a snap and easy. I mean, there's just so many out there to get. Wrong. What I am telling you is this. Look, if listing inventory is tougher to acquire for you as a sales executive, then you probably have to tweak your activities. You probably have to tweak your DRC. You probably have to tweak what you're doing each and every day to get that inventory. Because if you want to increase your business year over year, even though the market's hot and things are good, you have to tweak what you do so you can achieve your personal goals. Look, I'm a numbers guy. I think statistics are great. But what I think is more important for you and your clients is to look at what you specifically are trying to accomplish and what actions you need to take, what decisions you need to make to achieve the outcomes that you want to achieve. All right? Otherwise, I think you're generalizing the market, and I don't think it will be anywhere near as valuable for you than the person, the agent, the buyer, the seller that focuses on themselves and what they're trying to accomplish. All right, everybody, I hope this was valuable for you. If it was, again, as always, share with anyone. And if you're not already following, please do. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.